So today we're going to be taking a look at the Whoop video I did recently. You ready? Like I said, today I'm going to be sharing some of the details from the Whoop video with Amy O'Connor that I uploaded recently. For those of you that have not seen it yet, sit back, relax, and enjoy this 53-second video.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know who I is and who I be. They stop and stare when they see me. If it's at once, no need to repeat. Run up on me, watch you fall to your knees. Tip my hat when it's time for the kill. Ain't no beast when you're really real. I am the boss, I am the Don. I am the one they call Lucky Charm. Got my own shit, I don't need your farm. Life was so hard, it made me weak. Built to last, this girl ain't weak. Sturdy and still when I plant my feet. Got it out the mud, now it's back to my sleep. Silent power moves is what I'm giving. They love to hate the world they can't live in. Always present for the high roads. Go swim within the deep lows. Low.
So now that you've watched it, I'm going to go through a couple of things like the brief, pre-production process, equipment I use, which includes camera, lenses and lighting, my music choice, the sound design process, and a little bit on the edit. And finally, things I would have done differently. If there's something I didn't cover in this video that you'd like to know, this is just going to be a kind of an overview, so be sure to put it in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. So first up, the brief. This actually came about as a client project that needed to be turned around super quickly. Late afternoon / early evening on a Monday, I was referred by a friend to the client, which was a digital agency looking for a videographer to film only, not edit, footage of 2 athletes for a Whoop campaign introducing 2 Irish GAA athletes as ambassadors. Got the call Monday evening, had a concept meeting Tuesday afternoon, filmed a full day on Wednesday with 1 athlete and another full day Thursday with the other athlete, and delivered a copy of the footage to the client by the Friday. I knew while filming that I had captured some cool footage, so because I could take my time, have free reign over the edit, I decided to put together my own little video with the footage I had captured. So, the pre-production. There kind of wasn't any, or very, very little, because it was such a quick turnaround I couldn't flesh out a detailed storyboard, so using Milanote, I just went to town on gathering reference images to give myself something visual to glance at throughout filming. I didn't have full control over what shots were captured, as the client had representation there that helped direct as well, which is great because they might see something that I don't in the heat of filming. However, I did have a decent amount of control, probably 80-20. Up next, the equipment. I used the Sony FX6 with a Sigma 24-72.8, which I didn't switch at all over the 2 days. The only other lens I actually have at the moment is a Sigma 35 1.4. Big fan of Sigma lenses, and I will get more in the future, but at the moment those are my options. I will also be doing a my camera setup video at some point, but so far I am absolutely loving the FX6. It's a beast of a camera and I just love the image it produces. I have already done a video on why I switched from Canon to Sony that will be linked up here if you haven't watched it already. The lights I used on the day were the Aputure 120D and 3 Nanlite Pavo Tubes 30Cs and some haze in a can. That brings me to lighting. The only scene that needed lights was the interior gym scenes. I used the Aputure 120D as the key light, which I placed just off camera to give a nice soft Rembrandt lighting effect. I used the windows in the gym as motivation for my lighting, so it gives the impression to the viewer that was the main light source. The other lights used were the Nanlite 30C Pavo Tubes as a rim light / practical because I wanted them to be visible in the scene as well as functional. I had the idea of putting them overhead to create a sort of halo, but they were a bit of a bitch to attach to the ceiling, but we persevered and I'm glad we stuck with it because I love the effect it created. Because the gym we used was so small, the lighting setup was never moved or changed, so I varied the shots as much as I could by mixing wides with close-ups and keeping them dynamic with handheld movement. Next up is the post-production process. For me, I always choose my song before the edit. I might have a song picked before filming is ever even completed, or I might do this after, but I always have a playlist of songs I've saved for future projects. I get my music from either Artlist or MusicBed, but for this project, Artlist had what I was looking for, which was a fast-paced hip-hop inspired song. Once I had my music selected, I chopped it a little bit to shorten it and pull out the sections of the song that I wanted to use. Another big part of the edit is the sound design. Sound design is one of my favorite parts of the editing process, especially in videos like this, where sound design really gives the video a lot more depth and takes it to the next level. Over the years, I've accumulated sounds that I keep in a handy folder, but I also have a few sound design packs that I've purchased. A couple of my favorites being Visual Tone's Essential Flow SFX pack and Singularity's Sound FX by Filmcrux. That was a mouthful. I also use websites like Soundstripe, Epidemic Sound, Artlist, and YouTube on occasion. Bringing all that together, we have the edit. I think a lot of what I've said already gives you an idea of how I wanted to edit this video. I wanted it to be snappy and aspirational and showing the determination of the individual. In this case, the individual being Amy O'Connor. I've always wanted to create a sports commercial like this because I'm inspired by a lot of Nike ads and other sports commercials that I have saved on my Instagram. I'm always saving and building a catalogue of content that I can reference and learn from so that I am always improving. And finally, what would I have changed? If I were able to go back and film this footage again, there are just a few things I would change. Some are to do with my still getting to know the FX6. For instance, I think I would have exposed the indoor shots a little more on the overexposed side of things. I wanted them to be moody, but I think the grading would have been easier to manipulate if I had allowed for more light. I also might have introduced some lighting outside, which I know sounds strange, but using one of my Nan lights combined with some negative fill to help create some more depth for the close-up shots, I think would have really helped. Another thing I should have done was record some audio there on site. There were some sounds I found just weren't right during the edit that I had to go out and record myself, which was interesting. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, but overall I'm super happy with the outcome. And the things I would have done differently, I now know for my next shoot. So that's it for the video really. Like I said, if there's something I didn't cover or you are curious about a certain aspect of the video, leave your questions in the comments below. I'm nothing if not consistently inconsistent with my uploads, but until next time, toodles. Okay, I think that was good. I think. Example screenshot here. And that's a wrap.